I get like menu inspiration from everywhere. This recipe I actually got from the original Brady Bunch movie from Alice, the housekeeper. Pork chops and applesauce.
What's for dinner?
Pork chops.
Pork chops. Huh? What else?
Applesauce?
Pork chops and applesauce. That's swell.
Hey folks, I'm Matt from Fidel Gastro, and today I'm gonna show you one of my favorite proteins to cook, not because I love it so much. I mean, yes, I do love it, but I really just love showing people how to make a good pork chop. A lot of times I hear, Matt, I don't like pork chops. They're dry. They're only dry because you cook the shit out of it. So today I'm gonna show you how to cook a proper pork chop, and it's all thanks to my good friends at Canola Eat Well. Their mission is all about promoting the farming of Manitoba-based canola, but more importantly, just agriculture in Canada. So we're using Ontario pork, Quebec apples, maple syrup from Ottawa, and of course, Manitoba canola oil. Let's start cooking. Okay, a little pork chop 101. Couple things to look for when you're buying your pork chop. First off, I love to deal with the butcher directly. Not a big fan of the big wall of refrigerated meat wrapped in saran. I like to see a person, tell them what I'm looking for, and have them cut me something right off the pig. So this is exactly what I asked for. It is a double rack pork chop. So double meaning 2 bones. Those 2 bones are actually coming off of the baby back ribs. So the rib chop essentially has the most amount of fat and meat kind of combination. You have this beautiful fat cap, which is all flavor. You have the bones, which has flavor. You have a nice eye, that's the eye of the loin. And in general, I find it to be the most flavorful of the pork chop variety. By also asking for it to be a double chop versus a single chop, it just allows it to be a little thicker, which makes the whole reverse sear method that much easier to cook. So what is a reverse sear? Well, I preheated my oven at 275. We're just gonna oil the pork chop up with canola, both sides. There, perfect. And then we're actually gonna stand the pork chop straight up, cook it in the oven for about 45 minutes or until the internal temperature is 130. We're gonna probe it with a thermometer. I don't just look at it and go, 130. No, it's not a magic trick. You actually have to probe it with a thermometer. If you want to do this on the barbecue, super simple, it's 1 for 1. Same idea, barbecue gets preheated at 275, oil it up, stand it straight up, maybe on indirect heat, maybe on a little pan like this. You finish it on the barbecue as a sear after you've hit that 130. Exact same method. The reason why we stand it up versus lie it down is so that way when it's in the oven, it's getting a perfectly even cook versus overcooking on one side and undercooking on the other. There's a lot of science behind this pork chop. A lot of science. Anyways, let's throw it in the oven, and then we're gonna start to make our applesauce.
You say we're having pork chops and applesauce in there?
Yeah.
That's swell.
Now I'm gonna make the apple jam. Peel all your apples, dice the apples, put them into a bowl, and add canola oil, salt, brown sugar, paprika, DIJON mustard, hot sauce, and mix it all together with a spoon. Grab a medium-sized saucepan, place it on high heat on your stovetop, then add some canola oil. Add the apple mixture to the hot pan and allow it to cook for about 5 minutes, making sure you're constantly stirring the apples. Once the apples start to soften, add about a 1/4 cup of water and allow the liquid to cook out. Then add maple syrup and let the apples continue to simmer for about 5 to 10 minutes max. If you prefer your sauce chunky, you can leave it just as is. But if you're like me, use an immersion blender to puree it to make it into a smoother sauce. The last thing I'm gonna add once the sauce is almost ready is a splash of apple cider vinegar just to help balance out the sweetness. Okay, so our sauce is done. I am gonna remove the pork chop from the oven and generously season both sides with some salt and pepper. Don't forget to season the fat cap as well. Grab a large searing pan, place it on the stove top, put it at high heat, and add canola oil to the pan. Sear your pork chop for about 2 to 3 minutes per side, but don't forget to render off the fat on the cap by placing the fat directly into the oil to cook it off. Once your pork chop is done, remove it from a pan and place it onto a cutting board. Slice off the bones first and then the fat cap. Then start to slice the pork chop on a bias. Pork. Choppity chop chop. Pork chop sliced, applesauce made. I'm just gonna put a little dollop down here on the board. All right, we have that bone. It's gonna go right there. These are the fat cap pieces. And we're gonna fan the pork chop down on top of the board, with a little bit of that sauce underneath. Okay, like so. So we have the fat cap, the bone, the whole pork chop there. We have a little bit of that applesauce just on the side here for dipping. Finish it off with just a little more salt over the top. And sable, pork chops, and applesauce. Well, there you have it, folks. Pork chops and applesauce done the reverse sear method way. If you've been on the channel before, you've seen our Instagram page. I'm a big fan of the reverse sear. I've even done a steak video, which you can check out here. And in the comments below, let me know how you like your pork chops. How do you like your chops? Thanks so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and a big thanks to the Canola Eat Well team for sponsoring this video.